So I think it's a great book, and I think you'll enjoy reading it. It's a very sort of effective book in the way that it's written and the way that it speaks to people, and the central messages of it, which Rhea will talk about. So I'm going to hand over to Rhea in a moment, but I'd just like to say as well, buy a copy, buy lots of copies, it'd be great Christmas presents. So we're expecting all that pile at the back to go, and even if they do, we can take orders and send them to you. But this will be the best investment you've ever made. Thank you, and hand over to Rhea.
Thank you, Stephen. Good evening, everyone, and a very warm welcome. I must confess that I do a lot of public speaking, as most of you know, but I am nervous tonight, because I'm talking about a book that none of you have read, so even if I forget a few lines, how will you know? And that's why you should pick up the book, to know if I forgot any lines. But I'm delighted tonight because of a number of reasons, and I thought I'll share with you a personal one. If I could define a little personal paradise that I'm going through right now, I am going through a real one, because the book that I have been writing for 3 years is almost in your hands. So the moment has come for me to hand it over to you. There's champagne tonight, it's fireworks tonight, and I've had a beautiful wedding last week, so I'm in a very happy place. So delighted you're here, and I think the key purpose of tonight was to launch a limited edition of the book. So we only have 300 copies, and what I want to do is I want to launch a foundation which is called Pi R Squared, which, given that I'm a little bit geeky, Pi R Squared is the diameter or the radius of a circle. There's a physics teacher in the room who can help me with that. Sorry, radius. But it's symbolic of a full circle, or a circle coming to a close. And what I want to do is, with all the proceeds from the book, help write the next book, where I'll invite 300 contributors that you've never heard of, from privileged and underprivileged backgrounds, who have a great story to tell, but may have never had an opportunity to write or tell the story. That's my next project, and I'm going to take another 2 to 3 years to do that. So the book is not a profit-making initiative, which was always my dream and passion. So tonight is also special because I launch Pi R Squared as a DNA foundation. So what is the book about? If you look at the cover, it's got some big words in it. So it's got leadership and DNA, and I got a call last week from a journalist who said, what actually is DNA? And that's when I thought, it's important I open with something quite light. And if I go right back to my childhood, so I'm 38 now, so if I go back to maybe 4 or 5 years old, Tom and Jerry inspired the book. So I was a big fan of the cartoons, the cartoon characters Tom and Jerry, and I was amazed at how a tiny little mouse could always win over and defend a mighty cat. And I realized size didn't matter. So although I was really petite and small, I thought if I could be smart and I could be confident, I could win over and make big statements. So that's really a true story of how the book was inspired. I didn't know it would be a book, but it gave me an attitude that has helped me a lot in life. So with Tom and Jerry, I think I then learned to grow up and become serious in life. I would really define my upbringing as very middle class, but with a lot of exposure. So I traveled a lot. I kind of traveled over 28 different countries. When I was with PricewaterhouseCoopers, a consultancy that really shaped my career, and the senior partner, Sandy Pepper, is in the room, who has shaped my DNA a lot. He has since left and is a lecturer at the London School of Economics. Sandy inspired me because he wrote his book on executive compensation and launched the book about 6 years ago in the room next door. And I looked at him and I thought, I want to launch at the same place. I had no idea what I wanted to write then, but I thought this would be a good venue to do something like that. So thank you, Sandy. And so the book is really close to my heart. And the reason I say that is I always wanted to read a book that didn't have a single model or a framework about leadership in a book on leadership. And I never found one. So I wanted to write one which captured leadership from the perspective of real stories. So in the book you have 16 chief execs, 5 chairmen, 5 musicians, you have a number of athletes talking about leadership and peak performance, but you also have a priest, a poet, and a filmmaker. And I think what I've tried to do is take leadership from a number of angles across a number of disciplines, across 21 different cultures and nationalities, as are there in the room, and I'm delighted I can see people from Egypt, India, Canada, Scotland, who have traveled tonight, so big thanks. And the book is really eclectic in that sense. So I think the few things I wanted to say before I let you flick through the book is why leadership? And the more I got thrown into the wildness of life, from my different travels to mistakes I made, to tests that came my way, to trials, to tribulations, to little successes, I realized leadership is not about a model, it's not a skill, it's not a competence, it's actually an attitude and a belief. And if you really, really have that inside you, you find everything else to make an impact and make your mark in the world.